Jennifer from the Raytrippers, and today I'm going to show you how to build a Raytripper. A Raytripper is a sensor magnet system that we use to trigger the door to our traps. All a dog has to do is walk in the trap and break the beam of the sensor. It releases the magnet and the door closes. So today we will be wiring the system, and let's get going. This is what the sensor will look like when you take it out of the box. It has 5 wires. We will be showing you how to connect all of these. You will find this and every other part that you're going to need to build this in a description listed underneath the video. This is 16 gauge low voltage wire that comes in 2 strands, and we are going to be cutting a 9-foot section and a 5-foot section. So one strand 9 feet, one strand 5 feet. So let's measure those out and do that now. Okay, so now we're done cutting our wire, and we have one length of 9 feet and one length of 5 feet. And we're going to separate them. Okay, and how you do that is you just take a little clipper and you clip right in the center in the middle, and then they should pretty easily, sometimes it takes a second to get them going, but once you do, they'll rip apart relatively simply. Then you just peel them apart. So what we end up with here are 2 9-foot sections and 2 5-foot. And we're ready to start wiring. Now for the ends of your wires, you are going to need to strip the insulation off of the wires. We recommend this tool, which is very, very handy. You put the wire in, squeeze down, and make sure that you do it in a smooth motion. Now you're going to want about a ½ an inch or so of wire exposed, so we will have enough to do all the connections we need to do. So just grab your wire again, ½ an inch or so, and pull that insulation right off so your wires are exposed. Okay, I have all of the ends of the wires stripped, and we're ready to start splicing our wires together, making our connections, and creating the magic. Okay, so the first thing we grab is our sensor. And this black wire is a ground wire. We do not use it, so we're going to cut it off and discard it just to get it out of our way and keep us from getting confused. All right. So the first wire we are going to be wiring on our sensor is the gray one. We will be using a 9-foot length of our single wire that we have had stripped. We want to take our 1/4 inch shrink tubing and feed everything through it, pull it back and get it out of the way. This is just going to provide a little extra protection for these wires when we're finished. We're going to take this piece of 5mm shrink tubing and slide it over this end. Okay, then we take our wires and we want to twist the 2 wires together. Then you want to sort of squeeze them and form a hook to keep them from coming apart. And I like to give it just a little squeeze to make sure that the connection is nice and tight. Okay, then we're going to take our shrink tubing. We're going to pull it down over both. We'll get our heat gun out. turn it on, and shrink this wrap. Okay, now when you're done, you want to make sure that your tubing has shrunk all the way around. You want to get the heat on all sides so it's nice and tight and creates a nice good seal. Okay, now we're going to work on these wires. This wire is a little different because we have to put the blue and the white wires, twist them together, and then attach our 5-foot length of lamp wire to this. So we're just going to strip these and twist them together. Make sure you just get a real nice good twist on that. Okay. Now we have our shorter 5-foot section that we are going to attach to the twisted wire. And we're going to bend that around. We're going to bend this around. Sometimes easier than or harder than it sounds. Twist them together. The one thing I forgot to put on was the shrink wrap. So this is again the 5mm, and we don't have our connection on here, so we can slide it on from the other side. Carefully slide it down. Fit it over our twisted wire. And catastrophe averted, we can just go ahead and shrink that on too. Okay, you should have 2 wires, 2 of the lamp wires left that you haven't touched, one 9-foot and one 5-foot section. So we're going to pull those both over here, and these both are going to get attached to this brown wire. Let's remember to put our shrink tubing on, and we're going to put the 0.5 there, and the 1/4-inch tubing we're going to put over both of these. All right, now we are going to carefully join all these 3 wires together. And the way I like to do that is I like to hook these up like that. Then I'm going to run them through, wrap it around, hook them together, find my pliers, I have to give them a squeeze just to make sure they're nice and connected. And we're going to slide our piece of bigger shrink wrap tubing over our wiring, like so. Okay, now I'm going to shrink this little one right now, and then I'm going to pull this over a little bit to cover this wire, this one, just a little bit, and then I'm going to shrink that too, and we'll have a nice secure seal there. Okay, now is the time to take this 1/4 inch tubing that we put on earlier, and we're gonna carefully pull it up, and we're gonna get as much of these wires connections in as we can. Take your time, be gentle, and just feed them through. Push it up as far as you can, and then we're gonna shrink it. Okay, so now we're ready to start bundling this together. And what you need to do is find your short and long wires. That's definitely a long. And these two are the short wires. And you want to face those down toward your sensor. And the long wires you want to go up. And that's going to be toward your magnet, but right now just up away from the sensor. And the short ones are going to go down toward the sensor. And now we're going to unwrap a little bit of this one, because we're going to want some of this bundled in with our 1/2 inch shrink tubing, just to provide some nice security and a good solid Raytripper. Now it's time to bundle this all together, and we're going to do that with this 1/2 inch shrink tubing that we found in 4 foot lengths. And this will provide some weather protection and a little more sturdiness for our Raytripper. So you're going to come to the end, you're going to feed the 2 ends through. Be gentle with the wiring that we haven't finished there on the ends. Give it a little squeeze if it gets hung up. And just push it through. And this right here is the hardest part, getting the ends to pop out. There we go. But once they're out, it's easier to just grab it and slide it down. Okay, now when we get to our bundle here, and remember we have our short wires aiming down and our long wires aiming up, we are going to gently work that all into this shrink tubing. It's a nice tight fit, and that's what you want, so that the tubing shrinks on and provides a really good seal. This is also where you can ask somebody to give you a hand. So I'm going to ask Kathy to come here and hold on to the wires on that end. Just provide a little stability while I pull this down. Okay, and you're going to want to leave 2 or 3 feet of your wire out of your shrink tubing, because this is what's going to be connected to your power source. And so you want a little bit of options for your power source and a little bit of give to your wires. So we need to get our second 1/2 inch 4 foot section. Thank you, Kathy. I'll open that up. It's best if you straighten it out first. Give it a couple of squeezes to open it up, so you're not fighting so hard to feed your wires through it. Okay, that should be ready. So again, we're just poking the wires in and feeding them through. When you get to the end, if you see a hump like that in your wire, just grab it, straighten it out so they're nice and straight. And then when they join up in the middle, we're going to shrink one. We're going to shrink this one down, then we're going to pull this one down over it, and we're going to shrink this one down. Okay, so we shrunk this tubing down as little as it's going to get, and now we can pull this tubing over it. And I recommend you pull it a couple inches over just to make a nice weather-tight seal. And then we can go ahead and shrink that. Okay, now we are putting our 16 to 14 AWG male connectors on the sensor end of our wires. So we have to put our 1/4" shrink wrap tubing on. We put our connector on, making sure all the wires get in there. Just kind of give it a little twist and shove. Okay, and you take your crimper, you line it up with the same color, blue. Put it in around the collar and give it a good strong squeeze because you want a nice tight connection. Give it a little tug to test it, and I'm just going to give that one more little on the other side. Make sure it's crimped. All right. And pull our shrink tubing up. We'll shrink that down. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing on this end, only we will be using female connectors. And this is the trap end of our sensor, or the part that gets plugged into our magnet. So again, shrink wrap, or shrink tubing, excuse me. Put that in. Blue dot. Nice strong crimp. Now that we've completed all of our wiring on our harness, we can talk about mounting our sensor. This hardware will come in the pack in the box that you opened up, and it just attaches quite easily with some screws and nuts. These are CCTV mounts, and they allow for complete adjustability for aiming your sensor. You can move them up and down, back and forth, sideways, and they tighten up with these little screws. And then this is the reflector that you have to line up with this sensor, and the dog breaks the beam. And those of you who are handy can figure out how to adjust these yourselves. Those of you that need a little more help, we will be working on a video, so there'll be a separate video for all of this. Let's talk a little bit about powering our sensor. We have our male connectors on our power side, which you remember is the side with the sensor. All of these accessories are listed under the video, but we just wanted to show you how you do them. And you all know how to attach these now. Female. You just connect them together, and if you have power available, you just plug it into the AC power. And I don't know if you can see the little light, but that's providing power, and we're ready to go. Also, another alternative, if you're out in the woods like so many of us are trapping, you can also use a 12-volt scooter battery with a battery harness, Quite simple to make. Same concept as attaching these, only loop connectors. Female again, because all power sources are female to plug into our male power. And you can plug it in. These little igloo coolers work great for keeping things. It's just a little can cooler. It holds your battery, protects it from the weather. Your harness can just come right out the side. You can zip it up. Everything's nice and protected. And again, it's providing power to the sensor. Thanks for watching the video. More information is available on our website, theraytrippers.org, or you can join our group on Facebook, Lost Dog Trapping, and we'll be watching the comments here so we can answer any questions you may have. Thanks!